So we saw Infernosfame's deck list earlier. To recap, it is a swarm deck with a little bit of a mid-range slant. It's a bit more out there than some of the decks I've seen. No, I'm good. I only play Gauntlet. Wow. That's, I mean, A, that's awesome. I love Gauntlet. And B, that's generous of you. There's a common crate key for later if you want some general skins. That's the 4th giveaway, which will be after this round. And after a few years, I think I have enough core robes. Oh, fair enough. So, back to this list. We have... So most of this is a typical kind of swarm deck. In this particular case, the payoffs are Deathfire, Crescendo, and Soul Grimoire, and there isn't any Blood-type Priestess in the main. But the low end of it, you know, there's some removal, there's some swarm payoffs, and there's a bunch of swarmy stuff. Then we have a bit more of a mid-range direction and a few weird tech cards. There's a Betrayal, there's a Necrotic Sphere, there's a Grandmaster Variax, a Thunderhorn, an Ulquian to go with a Vellum Scryer as the draw package, and Desolators, which are great. The sideboard has more copies of some of these tech cards, as well as an EMP, some Stygian Observers, which I assume are for like long matches where they help make your crappy small creatures less crappy. Excuse me. And the missing Blood-type Priestess, although only one of her. Coming in, we have Alexx55 repping Vetruvian, which we haven't seen yet. This looks like... Ooh, this is a really nice looking mid-range vet list. This is the sort of stuff I like to play. Although actually quite rarely when I play vet. So this is... We've got an Obelisk early game package with Fireblazers. And Doomcaster. So there's an Obelisk theme. There's a single kinematic projection, which I presume is payoff for these big 4-drops. And then the late game plan is this Cataclysmic Fault and a Stars Fury. So this is kind of cool. We've got a lot of different positional punish cards in the deck. There's Cataclysmic Fault forces people to stay either on the center line or far away from it. Stars Fury forces people to play in columns. Kinematic Projection forces people to spread out. Lost in the Desert forces people to group together. Thunderhorn forces people to spread out in a different way. So there's a lot of ways that your opponent can play around one card and walk into another. Kind of a Sophie's Choice thing that Vetruvian decks are able to bring to bear now. And this is playing 2 copies of each of these cards to maximize that. To fit all this stuff in, this player has actually done the unthinkable and trimmed a copy of Blood of Air, which I don't think I've seen since Blood of Air was printed. So it's a very brave move, cutting a Blood of Air, but there's enough removal in this deck that I think you can actually get away with it. Although, I'm pretty sure one of these Scion's Second Wishes could just be one. The rest of the deck is pretty standard stuff. We've got Falcius, of course. Blood Tier Alchemist is a reasonable tech choice. It helps with the early game. Pings off artifacts, which Vet can have trouble with. 3 Scion's First Wish, one of the quietly, best like little utility cards in the game. And a Rash's Curse for extra removal, which also goes well with Fireblaze Obelisk and Doomcaster. So, pretty normal stuff. And we've got Sandswirl Reader. Don't think I've mentioned that yet. Sandswirl is a really good card for giving you a tempo boost and also a little bit of long game value off the sand tile. So it's really just all in one as far as a mid-range deck wants to go. You get some additional tempo and then helps towards your win condition. Mercurial, this is for the current ongoing tournament on the Duelyst tournament page. No, this is for last week's Rookie Brawl. I assume F8 will be doing the melee. Cutting a Blood of Air is playing on hard mode. I agree. I think Blood of Air is so powerful and so useful. Moving on to the sideboard. I really like the use of this, actually. This is clever, looking at this. So we have a couple of cards that combo with Kinematic Projection or the positional things. There's 2 Recombobulus and 3 Repulsor Beast. Now, I think some of this stuff could be in the main deck. In particular, I think you could play Recombobulus instead of Blood Tier Alchemist pretty painlessly. There's only 1 Kinematic Projection, so you don't need them as much, but, there's enough, like, comboing it with Lost in the Desert works well, comboing it with Stars Fury works well, and, it's a cheap minion. Helps you make early plays, contest some honor tiles. Repulsor Beast is narrower and more expensive, so you probably don't want that in the main, but I think Recombobulus is fine. There's another Scion's Second Wish, which I guess is for decks like Varth, where you want to... opponents like Varth, where you want to pressure them with your minions, but they have this inconveniently powerful general that you need to be able to attack into. Reassemble I really like for when people bring in Dispel post-board. It's not so good against Magmar because they'll have Plasma Storm, but a lot of other people will bring in stuff like EMP and Lightbender against you. And being able to either reposition your obelisks after they've been demonic lured, or replay them after they've been dispelled, is super duper useful. And we can see Whisper of the Sands doing the same thing. If your opponent's spending cards and mana dispelling your stuff, you can punish them with Whisper of the Sands for a big swing, clearing out their existing minions and hitting them in the face. I think the sideboard is lacking something. Whisper of the Sands seems like an odd inclusion in the sideboard, as does the Second Wish. I think maybe I'm missing something, obviously, but those seem a bit narrow. And 5 positional trick cards and 0 in the main seems odd. Like, there's a lot more you can do with the sideboard. Especially in Vetruvian, you can play like Psychic Conduit, Grapnel Paradigm, Amara Healer, Monolithic Vision, Skippy, all sorts of cool like value cards that you can bring in for control matchups, where your removal is maybe less effective than normal. Conduit's really good against swarmy aggro decks. And you could even put in like Dancing Blades, or some other like neutral AoE cards, like Frostbone Naga, Crossbones, right? Mech is a thing sometimes. Ranged units are a thing, and Vat can't struggle with them. Although I guess Blood of Air is pretty good against Mech now. And even your own Lightbenders, which help against big Vaths and any unit with lots of text on it, really. Especially with only 2 Blood of Airs. Basically, these seem kind of, although they're cool cards, they seem like cards that the player didn't have space for in the main, rather than actual sideboard cards. Whereas I generally personally prefer my sideboard cards to be more high impact. But let's move to the games themselves. So we're going to look at, since we haven't seen them play before, we're going to look at Alexx55 on the big screen, and Infernosfame we'll keep up with on the small screen. Just looking at Infernosfame's opening hand real quick. I think they've got a nice turn 1 of Wraithing Swarm plus Zix into turn 2 Soul Grimoire, which is going to be very hard for a Vetruvian player to answer. They don't really have good early AoE, or AoE at all, really. It's just the Stars Fury, but that's far too expensive. So, turn 1 these into turn 2 Grimoire is probably going to be a major step forward. I guess Rash's Curse does punish the Soul Grimoire, but it depends on whether Alexx wants to hold on to that. So looking at Alex's hand, we have one of the better turn 1 plays in Ethereal Obelisk. But we can't really reliably take a Mana Tile with it. There's a chance, but there's also a good chance that Lilith plays a bunch of Wraithing Swarms and stuff anyway. On the flip side, Thunderhorn is amazing against Swarm, and it's one of the few... You know, it does a passable impression of being an actual AoE spell. So I think you want to keep this. For Rash's Curse... So, if you know that Infernosfame is playing Soul Grimoire, this card is fantastic. If you don't know that they're playing Soul Grimoire, like, they could be playing some kind of controlling Lilith with, you know, they could have Spectral Blades, but I think it's pretty reasonable to expect Swarm. Which means, apart from Fura Chakram, which kind of comes down later, Rash's Curse is not that good. On the flip side, it can kill things. You do have Silence First Wish, allowing you to kill a 2/3, so it might be worth keeping it for the purpose of going 1, 2, 3. And Stars Fury is pretty good against Swarm, so you could go 1, 2, 3, 4 and call it a day. And that might work. Stars Fury Thunderhorn is quite a good little, you know, your opponent spreads out to play around this, and then you Stars Fury it. So that if they don't have removal for Thunderhorn, they'll walk into this, and they might just win the game. So maybe you just keep this whole hand. But I think replacing this looking for Falcius is pretty reasonable. And maybe even replacing this going along with it, just to give you that extra shot at finding a 3-drop, because you won't otherwise have spare mana for the first wish unless you're lucky and the Dervish gets to walk onto a Mana Tile. So let's press that go button. Oh wait, hang on. Doing this wrong. So I like moving here and playing the Ethereal Obelisk. Just going to pause this momentarily to help them sync up. I don't like playing it here. Playing them here, the Obelisk is now out of position if Infernosfame decides to fight in this area of the board. And you're no more likely to get a monotile this way. In fact, I think you're more likely to get one if you play it in the middle. Because there's 5 squares it can land on that will help it take a monotile. Whereas here there are... Oh no, here there are 6, I lie. But we can assume that this one will go away. So there's still 5. Okay, so this does give you a higher chance of a monotile, but doesn't control the board very well. Whereas Infernosfame's side, they've done basically what we were talking about earlier. I definitely prefer using the 2-2 to kill the 2-2 and killing the Wraithling there. Especially as this Wraithling is out of position. But I think you want to buff this as well. Because this card's much more valuable. And all the Wraithlings can reach either of them. So what does Infernos do now? The Grimoire is awkward, but you can... No, it's not, I lie. You can plow all these in and start killing obelisks. This is going to put Alexx in some trouble. So all these Wraithlings have to go face. No, 2 of them have to go face. One of them can actually stay alive and attack this. And that leaves room for a Zix as well. Just to deploy some extra chaff. Come up board, provide additional fodder for the Grimoire. Yep, that's right. And I guess you replace Grasp of Agony here. Yeah, you attack this. Play the Zix out. Opponent definitely should have attacked there. Like, there's no reason not to. Opponent? Infernos definitely should have attacked there. I like Alex's run away here. This is an odd place to put a Thunderhorn. You can walk it up and kinetically project, but if Infernos has come here... I guess you can go that way then, and shoot upwards. And hopefully clear out a bunch of this stuff along the way. So from Infernos' perspective, what do you do now? You want to kill that Obelisk. You can Grasp of Agony it. So you can trade these 2 in, Grasp of Agony this, and then attack this with Lilith. Clearing the Thunderhorn, making the Soul Grimoire up to... putting the Soul Grimoire up to 18 power. And then you can also play Furiosa... double Furiosa Shadow Spawn for a huge board of stuff. It's going to be hard to... Oh, that's a bit awkward. No, it's fine, because the Wraithling can move before it attacks. So as long as Infernos doesn't forget... Oh, no! No! Eesh. That's rough. Now, maybe it doesn't make too much difference, but that is rough. Second Furiosa should be somewhere safe, probably here or here. Making 3/3s. So this puts Alexx in a pretty painful position. What can you even do from here? You definitely run away, and you probably play the Blood Tier now and ping. Sunsteel's not bad, I like Sunsteel. Anything that you can kinematic projection to get rid of the Soul Grimoire will probably win you the game, because Infernosfame has no cards in hand. I would definitely replace this Furiosa. Oh no, they replaced into the Furiosa. Sorry, keeping track of the little screen is relatively difficult. So this is awkward now. Infernos is forced to spread out to protect the Grimoire from the Sunsteel's force field. And I guess this Wraithling is being extended as bait. So now I guess one of these will come down here and be kinematically projected. Or is Alexx going to bide their time? They're biding their time. That's quite bold. You're giving Infernos time to draw removal. This is very good. That's a really good draw. Oh, okay. I mean, a lot of these will clear the Soul Grimoire, so the artifact isn't long for this world. Demonic Lure, that's a pretty interesting draw. I don't think there's that much that can be done with it. You can go... So you can attack here. Attack here. Play Shadow Spawn, make 2 more 3/3s, buff this up. Oh, sorry, other round. Move here. Make 3/3s, make this into a 5/5. Kill the Sunsteel Defender. I guess kill the Blood Tier Alchemist. Bye-bye Soul Grimoire. Actually playing out the third one. Seems reasonable. Making 4/4s is pretty cool. Oh, here we go. Kinematic Thunderhorn would have been nice. Yeah, that does a lot of damage, doesn't it? Alright. So Infernos now has to win the game with this. Which is doable. Probably isn't going to work, but it's doable. Oh god, here we go. Oh, that's a huge punish for Lure. Holy crap. This is a concede, right? Well, that seemed to work, didn't it? I guess at this point, Infernos just has to concede. That does not do it. I guess you're not dead. Oh, Desolate is a good draw, though. If anything he's going to get Infernos out of this situation, it's probably Desolator. I mean, Alex has the Blood of Air, so it doesn't matter, but... I think it's a bit greedy to play the Silent Second Wish there. Like, you don't really need to. You want this. And you don't need the buff. Like, your opponent has 2 cards, so they could have Removal Spell and some healing effect. And at that point you want to be able to replace the Silent Second Wish looking for more answers. In this case it's fine because Alex can clear the Desolator. And the Falcius gets in for lethal. But the Blood of Air also does it just fine. To be honest, I don't think Infernos' deck can win against Alex's. Vetruvian just has too much punish against the swarms. I don't think I agree with that. I think Infernos probably doesn't have the best build to win against a Vetruvian deck. Like, a faster one would probably be better positioned. But I think they're... As long as you've got removal for Thunderhorn, I think you're actually okay. Like, Vetruvian's removal... They do now actually have AoE, but it's all kind of expensive and conditional. And Blood of Air isn't that bad when your deck is like, you know, Furiosa and Wraithlings, like whatever. So I think there's a lot of game there. I think the Swarm deck has a decent chance of it. Let's find game 2. So, those aren't awful things to have. But this hand doesn't excite me very much. I think there's a lot missing here. There's no payoff. There's no real insurance against anything the opponent might do. Like, there's no hard removal. And this is kind of bad. However, these are fine. This is fine. And these are easy replaces. So I guess I'd just ship these, looking for you want some answer to either Fireblaze, Obelisk, or Thunderhorn. Punish will do, and a Swarm payoff. So I'm hopefully going to draw like, you know, Punish DFC or Punish Grimoire here. That would be the ideal. Let's see what Infernos ended up doing. Kept the Grasp of Agony. That seems ambitious to me. I would definitely have kept the Desolator there, although Soul Grimoire is fine. That's a good draw. Hey, Deso. This card is so good. And it kind of allows you to make them Blood of Air on your own terms. What do you do here? You can Grimoire to kill this, I guess. Get in for 3 Grimoire. Is that what's going to happen? Looks like. Maybe you Grasp to get in for 3 as well. That seems kind of awful. This replacing of Desolators makes me very sad. I guess you don't actually need to sacrifice your Gloom Chaser. You can attack the Fireblaze with it and keep it alive. Which I would definitely prefer here. Because you might as well keep the 2-2. Like, being 6 or 8 attack doesn't make a massive difference. Alex probably isn't keen on plowing their face into it anyway. Or they have the Falkius. That's fine. But in this case, you'd have a 2-2 left over that you can use to trade, to maneuver. Yeah, this is looking pretty good for Alex here, despite the Grimoire being a threat. What do you even do at this point? I think the Gloom Chaser is the replace, right? Because you can play Wraithling Swarm, Furiosa, BBS and make 5 2-2s. And then smash face. Or even run away. Like you Wraithling Swarm and leave 1 Wraithling here, and then so you replace this, I think, first, or maybe the Grasp. The Grasp is worse. Probably replace the Grasp, because having creatures to make proactive plays is good. But I don't hate shipping this. The other option is you like Wraithling Swarm Demonicler. It's kind of okay. Replace this. You don't need it. That seems like an odd way to lure that. I think you can just kill it. Honestly. I guess if you're really keen on hitting in the face for 8. I guess that plays around Rash's Curse, gets the damage in. Oh, that's painful. That's not going to kill the Grimoire for free. Freeing up Alex and his units to clear the Wraithlings and position as they wish. I don't know if I'd have bothered Starsphering here, to be honest. I think I might have just gone Obelisk on the Monotile and Sunsteel Defender. And I guess the Fury kills the Furiosa, but like, this isn't up, so it doesn't really matter. Also, it would have been better to use one of the 2-2s to attack this Wraithling, and then the Falkius to go face as 1 more damage. Right, how can Infernos rebuild? Finally get rid of Grasp of Agony. That's a good draw. That's very good. So you can like Gloom Chase a Desolator, I guess. Killing this? Killing that's okay. But Desolator here. Gloom Chaser kind of bind you. Yeah, this seems fine. Don't attack face. That's... Oh... No, maybe that's not greedy. The Desolator's good. I think... Oh, they only had 1 mana left. I miscounted. Of course, you can't use the mana tile. This is fine. Plays out Thunderhorn. I don't know if... Maybe you can afford to get greedy there and play out Fault. Although I guess the body blockers are better. Yeah, the body blockers are better. This Infernos' hand is alright though, like for once they haven't run out of cards, which is good. I think he shipped the Gloom Chaser, and you make a pile of tutus? Oh, that's good. Oh, that's very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't leave you with much else. And they all died to Thunderhorn anyway. Yeah, I guess you can't really do that anyway. You need to... I guess you play Desolator here and run away from it. It's a bit awkward. No answers to Thunderhorn. It's very sad. I mean, that Desolator tried really hard to not be replaced. It knew it was necessary. Is Inferno's just dead? Not quite. Oh, actually, they might be. But not on board. But Thunderhorn. Chat's so slow. Yeah, it's just, I apologize for the delay there. Blood of Air. Plus, no, can't afford the Fireblaze Obelisk. Do you even bother with Blood of Air there? Like, do you play the Fault? Yeah, I guess you do, because he's pretty close to dead. Mediocre replaces for Alex, but with Infernos on such low health, it doesn't matter. If to be fair, so if Infernos hadn't taken the mana tile, Alex would have been able to go Fireblaze plus Blood of Air for lethal. Given that this Ethereal Obelisk spawned Dervish here. This is all very sad. The poignant, look at my swarm.